Hey everybody, and welcome to another video. So if you've been following along on our truck camper build out, you're probably wondering how we're going to power the whole thing. We've alluded to it in a few different episodes and thrown around different ideas, and we've finally come to a conclusion, and that is by using the Jackery Explorer 1000 power station and two of their 100 watt SolarSaga panels. Today's video is going to be about our power setup in the camper and what we're using, and just kind of our initial impressions of the Jackery products so far. Now, to be completely honest with you, I reached out to Jackery as I was building the truck camper to see if they wanted to do some sort of collaboration, and they sent over these products for me to test out and talk to you about. So this first video, I'm not going to do a review yet because we've only been testing these for about a month, and I don't think that's fair grounds for an honest review. So the review will come later. For those of you that don't know, I'm going to do a quick rundown of what this is and what the panels are, and then I'll get into how we're using them and why. I think the best way to explain what this does is to kind of show you how power goes through this system. So over here there are inputs, and you can charge this through a wall socket, you can charge it through a 12 volt car socket, like a cigarette lighter adapter, or you can charge it through solar panels. So when that power is coming in, it charges up the battery. If that power is coming in through solar panels, there's what's called a solar charge controller, and the Jackery has an MPPT one, which is basically just a more modern, more efficient one. And what that does is converts the solar panel energy into an energy that can be stored in these batteries. Same energy, it just kind of regulates it. Once that energy is stored in here, there are various ways it can be used by us. So right here on this side is the DC power outlet. You have a 12 volt 10 amp regulated socket here. You have two USB ports, one quick charge, one 2.4 amp. And you have two USB-C ports, which I'm a fan of because that's how I'm going to be charging my laptop and Tara's iPad. On this side of the Jackery is where your AC outputs are. Inside the Jackery is a 1000 watt pure sine inverter, and what that does is takes the DC battery energy and converts it into an energy that your typical household appliances can use. What we're going to be doing with these outlets is running an Instant Pot to cook really efficient meals in the camper. As far as tech specs go on this, it is a 1002 watt hour battery, and it weighs 22 pounds, which is very lightweight, and I think that's thanks to the lithium-ion batteries that it uses. Let's take a quick look at the tech specs of the solar panels, and then we'll get into the more fun stuff of what we're doing and how we're using this in the camper. Okay, so this is what the 100 watt SolarSaga solar panel looks like. It basically comes in this, it's about 2 foot by 2 foot square. It's kind of like a briefcase that you can tote around, and when you want to use the panel, you actually just open it up like that. On the back side of the panel are these little kickstands, so you can easily angle the panel towards the sun, and you can adjust them a little bit to get the right perpendicular angle and maximize your solar input. On the other side of the panels is this nice little storage sack. So in here is your cord, so you can plug your panels in. And inside of here there are also two ports you can use, a 2.4 amp USB-A and a 5 amp USB-C. Pretty handy. And these panels weigh about 9 pounds each, so they're very easy to lug around. Alright, enough boring stuff. Let's head outside and I'll show you how we're going to integrate this system into our truck camper. I'm out at the truck camper, and I wanted to give you all a look at how we're going to be using the Jackery in the camper. As you can see, cabinets and everything is a work in progress for those not following along on the other videos. If you aren't, check them out because we have some pretty interesting build videos for this camper renovation. But here's how we're using the Jackery. So we have this little home that it lives in, and it has plenty of room for ventilation when the AC inverter is running. But basically, this little 12 volt cigarette plug here plugs into the Jackery, and it's wired down to this fuse box, so all of our appliances are run to there, and whenever we want power we just click that button and you can see the Jackery comes on, tells us what our battery's at, and now the 12 volt fuse box is powered and we have access to anything we need. So we can turn on the fan, we can turn on house lights, our USB quick charge ports here have power, this port here which will eventually power our fridge, and there's a porch light on the back of the camper that's powered right now as well. Pretty cool to have all of our devices connected to this one input, and when we need to go, or if we want to take the Jackery out for a picnic or something like that, we just turn off the DC, unplug the adapter, and we can just carry it right out wherever we need to go. So that's what our use case for the Jackery is going to be. It's going to power all of our power needs in this camper, which admittedly they aren't a lot. We're not running a lot of different things, but we will be running an Instant Pot off of it. We will be attaching our computers to it to charge, so there are some other things that aren't accounted for just yet. So you might be wondering why we're choosing to use an all-in-one power station like this and portable panels instead of roof-mounted panels and a power system where you build it out piece by piece. And I have a few reasons for that. So the first reason is just simplicity. This tiny unit contains a solar charge controller, a large battery, a pure sine inverter, 1000 watt, DC distribution, fusing. It's got all of that and all the messy wiring contained in this one thing. Not only does it save money in that regard, it's cool because it saves a ton of space. You don't have to have all of these systems built out or have a space for them. All I have to do in my camper, and I showed you, is carve out a little nook that fits this. I plug it in, I put my power in there, and yeah, we do have a DC fuse box to distribute that power, but if you had a simpler setup than we did, you won't even need that. So it's just a kind of plug and play thing, and it takes care of all of our needs. I don't have to design this elaborate system. I don't have to think about it. It just works, which I love. The second reason we chose to go with a unit like this is portability. So with a large solar system install and panels on the roof and everything, you're not going to be able to take those off of your camper and with you wherever you're heading out. The cool thing about this is when we want to take it somewhere with us, we just unplug it, and because it's so lightweight at around 22 pounds, we can just lug it wherever we're going. And this has come into play quite a few times as we've been building the camper. We don't actually store this in the camper just for safety reasons. So we unplug it every day, bring it inside, bring it back outside, plug it back in, and it's so handy to be able to do that and not have to strain to carry these huge batteries in and out of the camper. And because it's removable, if we're leaving the camper parked over through the winter, or if we're parked in a desert somewhere where it's blazing hot, we can take the battery out of those extreme heat or cool conditions to help preserve its life better. In addition to that, the solar panels, because they are removable and not mounted to the roof of the camper, what we can do is actually set those in the sun while we park the camper in the shade, so we don't have to overheat our camper just to charge our batteries. So despite that reasoning, there are definitely cons to going with something like this, and the biggest one I can think of is expandability. Although I think this is going to more than meet our power needs, in the future if we were to somehow need more power, there is no way to really expand this battery. You would just have to either buy another one of these units, which would be ridiculous, or move to a different type of system. I wish there were a way to daisy chain another battery onto this and still have this be the brains of the operation, because that would be really handy. As we use it more, I'll have a full review for you, and that'll better address whether or not this is meeting our power needs fully or not. Alright, before I get into my first impressions of the Jackery gear, let's look at some footage of it actually in use and being charged by solar panels. Wow. Hey everyone, it is a cloudy, overcast day here. And I need to take a shower. I am out here testing the dual 100 watt SolarSaga panels from Jackery just to see what kind of output they can produce on a really cloudy day. So here's what the setup looks like. I have dual panels connected in parallel via the Jackery adapter. They're facing and they're angled towards the sun as best as I can. Let's see what we're outputting right now. So it's around 25 watts of input power. Right now I have the max air fan running on high, which is pulling 20 watts. So even with the max air fan on high, I'm actually still charging the battery and running the fan. And I'm doing both at the same time, which is pretty cool. Well, we just had a small part in the clouds and it's already up to around 100 watts. It hit 110 a few minutes ago and now it's hovering around 70-ish. Seems like even the slightest gap in the clouds and these panels are back up to cranking full. Right now with mostly full sun, it's pretty hazy. They're pulling in 125 watts, 124, whatever. As you can see, I've been pretty impressed with it in both cloudy and sunny days. The panels charge this thing pretty fast, and the cool thing is they bring in so much power that it more than covers the power that we're currently using in the camper right now. The big test, obviously, is going to be seeing whether or not the panels and this battery will power our full system, including our refrigerator in the camper. And I think it will, but we'll see when the fridge comes in. I'll put results from that into the full review. So to wrap this video up, I figured I would give some of my initial impressions on the Jackery Explorer 1000 and on the SolarSaga panels, just so you get an idea of how they've been working so far. And like I mentioned, we've been using them for about a month now as we build out the camper. Okay, so I think for both the SolarSaga panels and the Explorer, the fit and finish on these is, in my opinion, fantastic. It doesn't feel like it's cheap or it's going to break over time. It feels like it actually will hold up to extended use and rugged use in a truck camper type situation. As far as the Explorer 1000 goes, it has been more than capable of keeping us powered throughout our build of the truck camper. Obviously, Our needs will change as we transition into full-time truck camper life, but so far so good. I think my absolute favorite thing about this so far is that this unit can be used while you're charging it. On the days when we're charging the unit, we have the 2 solar panels outside of the camper. They're bringing in the power to the Jackery, and it's normally around 130 watts. And from there, we're pulling some of that power to power our devices, and the rest of it is actually charging the battery as we run all of our devices. It's really cool to be gaining power like that and not have to worry about draining down the battery. I know for myself, I've never had a solar setup, and it's been so cool to just take the power of the sun that's all around us and use that to fuel all of our energy needs for the day. It feels like we're in the future, and not the 2020 future, which completely blows, but maybe 2021 will be better. As far as the panels go, I've been equally impressed. I mean, like I mentioned, fit and finish is awesome. They're just so easy to use. You carry them out to the camper like a little briefcase, and they're very thin so they can store basically anywhere. The clasp is magnetic. You just pop them open. They don't normally pop open on their own, and set them out, pop open the kickstand, and they just sit there and crank away. There's no extra knowledge needed. It's just plug and play, very easy to use, and I like that. I really love these zippered pockets on the back because you can not only store your cable in there, but you can store, I have a little extension cable, I have the parallel adapter which I store in here, and if you're charging a phone or something, you can plug your phone into the port in here and just stick it in this pocket, and you don't have to worry about it laying on the ground or something like that. It's nice and contained. My only concern with the panels is, on the website, Jackery says that they're not waterproof. While I'm sure they're not completely waterproof, I know they have to be somewhat resistant. I just wish I knew how much. I've left them out in a light rain once and they did just fine. They actually brought in power during the rain, oddly enough. But I don't know how much rain they can take, and I wish there was like some way to know that, so I'm not so worried about having them out in the rain, because I know in the truck camper there are going to be days where it looks like it might be raining or it could be drizzling, and I want to make sure I'm okay to leave these out and get as much power as we can. Hopefully by the time I do the full review, I'll have some more input on that for you, and I can give you a better idea of how much water these things can take. So this is the first time I've actually reached out to a company to send me products to review, and I just want to assure you all that I'm going to do it in the most ethical and honest way possible. If there are downsides, I'm going to let you see them, obviously. I'm thrilled to be able to review gear like this, but I'm going to be doing it in a way that holds true to my values and my other gear reviews I've done where I've used the gear on trail for thousands of miles. So just letting you know. Hey everybody, I'm coming to you live from inside the truck camper to say thanks for watching the video. If you haven't checked out our truck camper renovation series, check it out. We're currently in the middle of building some cabinets in the camper. You don't have to be into truck camping or renovation. It's more just about our journey as we do it. And if you're interested in ordering the Jackery Explorer 1000 or the SolarSaga panels, check out the links in the description. You can buy them through Amazon or through the Jackery website. And if you click on the links below, it gives me a little kickback and keeps this channel funded and keeps the adventures coming, which I definitely appreciate. Thanks again for watching. See you next time.